Hello and welcome to Talking Live. I'm Dr. Robi Ludwig right here in Starship Studio. And today we are talking with Jill Dobson. She is a journalist. She is an entertainment reporter. We have seen you all over. We've seen you on HLN. We've seen you on Fox. We see you on Associated Press, CBS.
Yes.
Is there any station that you have not been on?
That's a good question. ABC has yet to employ me, which is crazy because I really think I've worked for every network, every studio, appeared on every show at one point or another, either as a guest panelist or a correspondent or a contributor, and yet
they need to get on it.
Yeah, ABC. So we're right here in Times Square. I'm going to just go knock on the door at GMA when we're done here and see if I can make it happen.
It's such an interesting job to work with celebrities and do entertainment reporting. Is this what you envisioned for yourself when you first were in journalism school? Because you, I believe, have like summa cum laude. Is that right? You were summa cum laude.
I studied a lot. Yeah. Studied a lot in college. I actually just visited my college this past week, Troy University.
Yes.
And it was such a fun trip back. They gave me a full ride back in the day, so I was really grateful for that, and studied journalism. And at the time was deciding between newspapers or magazines, and then ended up trying out a broadcast class and liked it, and kept working toward that career, and it's worked out pretty okay for me.
Well, it certainly has. So you must be one of Troy's most successful graduates.
That's how I like to think of myself.
Yeah. Yes.
We actually, my college roommate and I met up. Troy University is in Troy, Alabama. My roommate currently lives in Michigan and is a math teacher. I live in New York and I'm a journalist. So we convened on the campus and we're like, hey, look at us. We're both really working in the field that we studied all those years ago. So it was nice to go back.
And I think that's unusual.
I know, so many people, and I in college wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do. At one point, I did an internship in public relations, and it was not a good fit for me. I was not happy doing that. So it does take a while to figure out exactly what you want to do. And I was always watching Oprah growing up. So I thought, I like how she's sitting down talking to Gwyneth Paltrow. I want to do that someday. And I noticed that she started out working in news, and did hard news, local news. So I did that, which was that is a tough job. I have a lot of respect for my friends who are still out there breaking stories and doing news. I crossed to entertainment, and I'm happy over here.
Were you like a one-man band? So that's what they call it in the news business, and smaller news stations. You are your own cameraman, camerawoman. You edit, you write, you do everything. You drive to the story.
Yeah, luckily, I almost always had a camera person with me, thankfully. Yeah. Every once in a while, I would get sent out there. And this was before GPS, so I'm trying to find the fire before the fire goes out, get there in time, use the camera, video the fire, get back, edit the piece, report on the piece. It's a lot.
I would have gotten lost. I have a fear of getting lost.
That was my fear. That was my biggest fear, was the getting lost. I'm like, step one is a challenge for me. You really think I'm going to succeed in all the rest of these steps?
It's so funny because I started off as a therapist, and then I wanted to include the TV piece. I mean, I always knew that I wanted to do both, but I did the therapy first. And so I lived in New York, but when I was looking for work, New York is the #1 market. And one of the news directors said to me, I wouldn't be doing any favors if I hire you here, because you need to be able to make mistakes, right? Mm-hmm. So the smaller markets, you can make the mistakes. And so I went up to Elmira, and I loved that station. And they were so kind. They had cameramen, and I had my favorite. I remember telling my uncle, I only want to go out with this cameraman. He goes, who are you, Diane Sawyer? You don't get to pick and choose. So you started off in news, and then how did the entertainment piece happen?
So I had a similar experience where we know New York is the biggest market, so you shouldn't be there until you're at a certain stage in your career. Yeah. And I started in Lansing, Michigan at a CBS affiliate there, and then moved to Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids, Michigan at a bigger CBS affiliate. And then I decided to marry someone who lives in New York. So I moved right to New York before my career was ready.
Wow.
So I'm like, I don't know how to find work now, because I just came from market 38, which is decent, to market 1, which is a pretty big leap. And right around that time, I had an audition for E! News. They were looking for some talent, and the audition went well. And so I was able to start freelancing for E. So that's how I was able to cross over, which was perfect. It worked out great. Here I was in New York and then got an audition to do exactly what I wanted to do.
Do you
so
remember the first person, the first celebrity that you interviewed?
Oh, yes. So I had just moved to New York, and E's like, well, we like you. Why don't you fly out to LA and do some work for us there? So I had just moved to New York, and I pack up and do a summer-long trial for E in LA. And one of my friends was like, oh, that's cool. So you're going to be interviewing celebrities? I'm like, oh, no, it's just a trial. I think they're going to have me, writing some pieces, and then maybe I can tape a little bit later on. Oh no, that night I was interviewing Matt Damon on the red carpet.
Oh
my friend called me and she's like, you're such a liar. You were interviewing, I saw you on TV interviewing Matt Damon. I'm like, I did not know that was happening, but it went well. He was lovely and charming and a good first celebrity interview because he just was nice and, he knows how to play the game and give you good sound bites.
You have interviewed, we have a picture of you with Reese Witherspoon.
Yes.
We have who else is there?
Hugh Jackman, Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh my gosh.
Jennifer and I were having a very serious moment in that photo back there.
Yeah, she looks very serious, like she's contemplating. I don't know.
I've interviewed her a few times, and we go through all the emotions when we're together. She's like so expressive. So when I'm done, I'll have a screenshot of her looking very serious and a screenshot of her laughing. I'm like, oh, it looks like we really went on a journey together.
I'm sure you did. I love how she's unedited.
Oh, yes.
She's so honest. Like, I don't know if it's the therapist in me, but I come from a more guarded place. So whenever I see somebody just talking about anything and everything, it's very freeing. Yes. I'm sure you see the gamut.
I do, yes. I see some people who are just over it and don't want to talk. And I'm like, oh, let's just do it. Just give me a good soundbite. I'll come in with a lot of energy. Let's have a good moment together. Right? We're promoting your movie. You're only going to make more money if you give more sound bites that are good to the journalist talking to you, probably. Yeah. So some people are just over it and aren't really in the mood. Jennifer Lawrence is a good one who's fun, and we always get a good laugh when I'm interviewing her. So you just never know what she's going to say.
What do you do to prepare for each interview? Do you have time to prepare for each celebrity?
I do. I think I over-prepare. Yeah. It's my way of, we all have our strengths, and my strength is I'm the one that's going to come in prepared. And so I generally, of course, I'll watch the film or the series if I'm interviewing someone from a movie or TV show, and then I try to look up other projects they've done. Have they worked with any of these co-stars before? I can ask them, how did you enjoy working with this person again? And then I'm reading the headlines. I'm trying to read interviews that they've done so that I can say, oh, you told Vogue that you were really moved when the director asked you to think about your mom and embody a woman like her or something. So I try to look up what they've said before and kind of use that as a jumping off point.
Do you find that helps to take, let's say, a celebrity who doesn't want to open up? And does that then help them to speak a little bit more if you've done your research?
I hope so.
Yeah, I would think.
I think what opens people up the most is if they feel a good connection with someone. And luckily, usually we hit it off right away. But, there's some people where the first question you ask makes them uncomfortable inadvertently. And then the whole interview is you trying to get back into their good graces.
I could see where that would happen. I notice, and this is just me, I feed into other people's energy. So if somebody is intelligent and lively and friendly, it just makes everything so much more fun and easier. But there are times where people are having a bad day, or they don't like it, or God knows what. And it's hard to get in a groove. And I would think with certain celebrities, some might be intimidating. Like, how do you handle that if someone is not being friendly or nice?
Well,
maybe that never happens to you.
No, it does. Well, one thing I had recently was I was interviewing Ben Affleck for a new Netflix film that he has, and I had never interviewed him before. But he was on that very first red carpet I went to supporting Matt Damon, but he just walked by and he looked really angry and he didn't smile at any press. And that was really the only interaction I'd ever had with him. So I thought, okay, he doesn't seem like someone who really likes the media or wants to talk to us unless he has to. And now it's his film, so he has to. And he reportedly was in rehab for alcohol addiction late last August. So my bosses were like, oh, see if you can get him to say something about how he's doing these days. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous because I don't even think he wants to talk to me, period.
Yeah.
And he hadn't said anything publicly, even confirming that he'd handled alcohol addiction and recovery. So I just very carefully asked a lot of questions about, like, what are you doing to stay healthy these days? And he was actually lovely. He was fun. He told me a lot about how, the health plan he's on. He was avoiding certain foods on some sort of cleanse, and he's meditating to stay healthy and exercising. And we had a nice interview, and he kind of obliquely addressed the elephant in the room without me having to, like, directly ask it and make him uncomfortable. So it worked out.
So before we agreed to do this interview, I was looking at your Instagram, and I follow you anyway on Instagram, but I had a look with new eyes, right? I'm sure you understand that. And I see Jussie Smollett.
Oh, yes.
And you said that he was so charming and lovely, and at the time you had heard what happened. We all know that Jussie was not acquitted, but they dropped charges. Yes. I don't know the legal term for that. Is that
right
what it is?
Me.
They
Sure.
dropped the charges. He wasn't acquitted, but of course he claimed that he was a victim of a race crime.
Right.
And everybody initially felt horrible for
Yes.
him. And I'm sure you were were in that camp. Any thoughts since we know so much more now?
That's been an emotional roller coaster. I think I have interviewed Jussie Smollett, and I posted something on social media saying he has reportedly been the victim of a racist and homophobic attack, and I'm just very upset to hear this. Mm-hmm. And then different reports kept unfolding, and so finally I just wrote, I don't have the exact link, but it's something like apnews.com/Jussie Smollett, where AP, who is one of the places where I do freelance reporting for, they're putting all the latest info on there. And I finally just told my followers, like, go check theirs, because it's unfolding, it's changing, and I'm not going to keep putting another Instagram post about it every time, because people were starting to write inflammatory things.
Yes. Would you like to hear the latest?
Right.
Yeah, you'd be completely consumed with just Jussie.
Right, but this story, it makes me so sad. I still don't understand exactly what really happened and what motivated what really happened, but it seemed like it was just an interesting and upsetting story to follow from beginning to where we are now.
Especially when you meet somebody and you like them so much, and then you find out more about them, which is unsettling. That's always a bit unsettling.
Right. And then when I heard the charges were dropped, I was so happy.
Yeah.
But then other officials were like, well, I don't think the charges should have been dropped. So it wasn't as if his name were fully cleared. So that's a tough one. I'm still wishing him the best and hoping it all works out.
Is there anyone that you absolutely loved, like were a fangirl of, and then you met them in person and it was disappointing? You don't have to say names, but I'm just curious.
I actually have feared that. Whenever I'm a big fan of someone, I really fear that. Luckily, it hasn't happened yet. I've had celebrities who are not fans of the Jill Dobson experience, but they were ones I was okay. Like,
what's wrong with them?
And then I've had other celebrities. So one is Madonna, is from my home state of Michigan. Oh. And, she was a huge star before I was even anywhere close to pursuing this field. And I, at one point, had a chance to sit down with her, and I got there first, but they're like, well, you're our last person scheduled, and we don't have time, and you might not get to talk to her. And I'm like, just let me ask one question. Come on, I have to interview Madonna. And then when I got into the room, they were like, we have to adjust the lights. And I was sitting across from Madonna for probably 8 minutes while the tech guys adjusted the lights. And I don't want to address any of my questions I have written down because I want to save it for when we're rolling. Right. So I'm like, what do I do? And I don't want her to be mean to me, and we have to stay friends, but I can't ask anything about the new album. And so I told her this story about how she's been known to dock her boat sometimes in northern Michigan. And when I got married in northern Michigan, my mom's greatest fear was that Madonna would dock her boat nearby and steal all the focus from the bride. Yes, so I just told her, like, I really didn't want you at my wedding, or rather my mother didn't want you at my wedding. And she thought that was funny, and we had a nice rapport. I'm like, okay, I made it through. So luckily, my fangirl moment survived, and she was nice to me.
So it sounds like in order to be a good celebrity entertainment reporter, you really have to have people smarts because you're dealing with big personalities that might have a lot of different moods. And I just want to ask you, and I just love this picture. I actually made you bring this.
I was just going to say, yeah, that's all Robi.
It was all me.
She asked multiple times.
I did, because I'm so impressed. And you were Miss Michigan, USA.
Yes.
This was during your after college.
Right.
Okay.
This was during grad school.
During graduate school. And then you were in one of the top contenders for Miss USA.
Right. I was in the top 10 at Miss USA in 2000, many moons ago.
Yeah.
Representing Michigan, and that was a fun experience.
Oh, that's okay.
But it was so long ago, I don't even have digital photos. So when you asked for a photo,
I was happy to get that.
I had to dig through the closet.
What was your talent?
Okay, so in previous pageants, I was the girl who did a monologue. I'd be like, here's an original poem I wrote. I'm a writer, I'm a journalist. And then one day I was watching Miss USA after having done other pageants along the way. And I got done watching it and I realized Miss USA only has swimsuit, interview, and evening gown. And I was like, wait a minute, talent was always my downfall. So I called my parents and woke them up. And I was like, did you know Miss USA does not have a talent portion? And my parents were like, what? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm signing up tomorrow. And then that one worked out well for me because basically you just have to walk and talk, which are two things I'm capable of doing.
Yeah. Do you feel good about that moment? It's nice to share. You have a daughter, you have a son and daughter.
Yes.
Are they impressed? Is your daughter old enough to appreciate?
No, in fact, I said to her the other day, we were talking about something, and I was like, well, you know how when Mom was in pageants, sometimes I had to pretend to be in a good mood when I wasn't or something. And she's like, you were in what? And I'm like, oh, we haven't gotten to that point in Mom's bio yet. She had no idea what I was talking about.
That'll happen. She'll be very impressed, I'm sure. Do you think the pageant world prepared you for the entertainment world?
I do. It's, it gets a lot of flack, and it always has. But for me, it was a great experience. I was first in something called, it was at the national level, was called America's Junior Miss. And through that program, in part because of that, I earned a full ride to Troy University. So a full ride to college right there is a huge win. And then this program certainly helped me meet different people. In fact, I was interviewed by someone at Fox News Channel when I was in Miss USA, kept his card, and later I wrote to him and said, how do I apply to intern there? And I ended up interning at Fox News and later became a correspondent at Fox News. So it helped me get a job.
I'm trying to remember where we collaborated together.
I know. We've met along the way more than once.
We're definitely all in the same places, so it could have been anywhere.
I have a lot of people like you that I call green room friends.
Yes,
because we were in the green room at the Today Show or at Fox News or at MSNBC or something together where we're either, if we weren't on the same couch at the same time, we were on it one right after the other.
Yes, definitely. And then we got to reconnect when you were the cover girl of Metropolitan magazine, and it was so cute. I was looking at your Instagram again, and your husband, who's an agent, was so supportive. He loved, there was a big poster behind, right? It was huge. It was the size of a wall. And your husband said he wanted to steal it and bring it home.
Yes.
Did he get to do that?
He stole it and brought it home, and I was like, I don't want this in my home.
I'd be all about that.
Because people are going to come
I'd
over.
be like, what frame is good for that?
So yes, it's in his office now. It always kind of startles me when I walk into his office.
Is that?
It's funny. The funny thing was there was a big profile done on him for Sports Business Daily, I believe. And he submitted the photo of the two of us standing in front of the giant Metropolitan magazine poster. And
we have a picture.
Oh, yes, there's the family.
Such a good-looking family.
So yeah, that picture just keeps getting mileage. And there's the kids, Shane and Elle. I call them Jill's incognito kids because we don't show their faces on social media.
How did you make that choice? Because listen, I'm older than you, so when I had my kids, social media did not really exist. But I definitely would have overposted. I know myself.
Yeah, I think whatever choice.
I probably overpost now.
I think all my friends post pictures of their kids, so I understand that that's the norm.
Yeah.
As you may know, local news people are the people who are most likely to have a stalker or something. So I have had incidents in the past with restraining orders and such. So I think, you know what, let's keep things private since it's been a
so
situation.
I've not had that incident, so that's why I can post away. I just post away.
Well, that's because you're at the national level.
Oh,
It's when you're local news, though, that you say, come on down to the county fair, and people really do, and sometimes it's okay, and
yes,
sometimes
Jill, I tell myself that all the time. It's because I'm at the national level.
You're too famous.
So in Metropolitan, if people want to see the article written about you, they can go online still?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a link in the bio. Any kind of social media that I'm on, a link in bio.
Okay.
It's like Metropolitan Magazine. Here was my article.
Yeah.
So it's available there among other places.
Oh, yes. It's perfect. We like to do something called the Quick Five so people can get a sense of who you are.
Okay.
Just even better.
What if I freeze right now?
No.
I just go blank.
No, I don't think so. We'll move on to the next question if that happens. What's the funniest thing that you've ever seen a stranger do?
Oh, see, total blank. The funniest
or celebrity
I've ever
Are
seen.
any of them funny?
Okay, the funniest moment that comes to mind actually happened to me. When I was at my college one day. I went through the line at the cafeteria, and every person just started pointing and laughing. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. And my beloved roommate, Heather Benz, came up to me and she's like, oh, Jill, apparently there was some sort of weird static force field that only affected me. I had just washed and blow dried my hair, so because it was so clean, I guess, the static just got it. And every other person either had a ponytail, hairspray, something. So it was mortifying at the time before I figured out what was wrong, and then it was just kind of funny.
You just had that magnetic force.
Apparently.
That's what it just showed.
Apparently.
Do you think of yourself as being naughty or nice?
Nice.
Oh,
definitely
you do?
nice.
Yeah, I can see that.
Oh, yeah. Santa still comes.
Yeah, I think of myself as being naughty.
You do?
Yeah, it's more fun.
We should be interviewing you. That's way more interesting. That's why I'm the one asking the questions generally. Because I'm like Little Miss Clean Slate.
Yeah, if you ever want to know, I'll tell you why I think of myself as naughty. Okay. In one sentence, how would you sum up the internet?
World changing, right?
Yeah.
We can now Google anything and find out anything.
Yeah.
And in some ways that's good, and in some ways it's terrifying.
Do you think that's changed your job at all, the social media and internet?
It certainly has. I'm sure for the celebrities, it's kind of great for them to have a platform. They don't have to wait for my report. They can just give their own view right there on social media. It also, as a parent, when your child says, why is the sky blue? You could be like, hold on. It's kind of nice to have all the answers handy.
Yeah, that's
Not
true.
Go to the encyclopedia and try to find it.
It's like a double-edged sword. It can be wonderful or it could not be wonderful. Just like anything else in life. It's how you use it, really. If you had to change your name, what would your new name be and why would you choose that name?
Well, when I was a kid, I decided my TV name was going to be Jill Diamond. I thought it sounded really wonderful. And my husband, Jim, has a friend named Rick Diamond, and I met his lovely wife, Jill. And I was like, your real name is my dream name that I would have changed it to, Jill Diamond. So glamorous.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous of the real Jill Diamond.
Oh, but I like that. I like real diamonds, too.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yes. Okay. If you could know the absolute and total truth to one question, what question would you ask?
Oh, my goodness. How was the world created?
Yeah.
Mainly because I have a 5 and a 7-year-old who ask me all the time.
Yeah. That's a top one. And also, I would want to know, like, is there life after death?
I was hoping to kind of sneak that one in.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm told how the world was created, I think that would kind of answer. Right. That's what I was hoping. I was trying to get a 2-for-1 in there.
I like it. What new projects are you working on and where can people find you? We'll also have a link so people can follow you on Instagram and follow you wherever you want to be followed.
Great, thank you. So one of the best ways to see my interviews, I use the hashtag Jill Dobson videos when I interview celebrities because a lot of what I do is for the Associated Press, which blasts it out everywhere. And then you might catch it on Entertainment Tonight or ET Canada. ET Canada is kind about using a lot of my interviews. Thanks, ET
great.
Canada, or Access Hollywood or whatever. So it's so spread out that I'm like, you might want to just hashtag Jill Dobson videos and see what you find.
I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I know that everybody is going to continue loving to watch you and seeing your interviews because they're very intelligent and smart, as are you.
And next time I want to interview you and find out why you're so naughty.
Oh, yes, yes. I'll be happy to tell you. I would love that. And you'll come back. Maybe you'll bring your husband too and you'll talk about work-life balance.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, that would be fun. I just want to tell everybody the Three Tomatoes is having a renewal summit in New York City, May 11th, and I will be one of their keynote speakers. So I will have a link to that, and also Daphne Oz, right? Dr. Oz's wife, and we're going to have a lot of different interesting personalities talking about how your best life is here and now. So we're going to have a lot of fun. So check out that link, check out Jill, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks for joining us on Talking Live.